I'm Tim Smith with the Adams County Historical Society, and welcome to an episode of Monuments Monday. And I think we'll call this episode Spring Has Sprung. So if you are really interested in walking the Gettysburg National Military Park, it's a good idea to come here, in the winter, in the summer, in the fall, and of course, in the spring. And I know people who are enthusiasts about the battle like to visit the area at different times of the year, and it's fun to see the different changes on the battlefield. Of course, during spring, you can come here and you can see the redbuds in bloom and some dogwood trees. And you'll notice that a lot of people walk the battlefield. And what a great way to visit some of the monuments, markers, and tablets. Take a walk on one of the major avenues. And one of the places where people really like to walk is East Confederate Avenue. And you can park near the edge of the town, and you can walk out around Culp's Hill and back and up and over East Cemetery Hill and back into town. It's a manageable walk. Some people jog. Some people walk their dogs over this area of the battlefield. And as you're walking along East Confederate Avenue, and I should mention that one of the reasons why this is such a popular walk amongst local people and tourists is it's not one of the roads that is on the official National Park Service auto tour. So since it's not on the auto tour, cars come down the avenue very infrequently. So, there's not a lot of traffic, and, it's a great place to walk your dogs or ride your bike. But as you're going along East Confederate Avenue, you're walking on a road that is between Rock Creek and the breastworks or Union entrenchments along Culp's Hill. And it was across this very ground and up that hill that Edward Johnson's division of Richard Ewell's Corps made their attack on the evening of July 2nd and the morning of July 3rd. And, you can see these brigade plaques that talk about where the various brigades of Johnson's division were located in the attack. And of course, John M. Jones's brigade, and you can see 5 regiments from Virginia were part of this attack. And of course, if you really have some gumption, you can actually come out here to the brigade plaque and make the charge up the summit of the hill yourself. And that is a very particularly steep climb up to Culp's Hill, where the tower is not far away from this location. So, you come out here, and besides the fact that, you can learn about history, you will also pass some, trees and probably see a snake or two. And a great place to park and then take a walk on the battlefield to see some of the monuments that we highlight on our Monuments Mondays is a little parking area that the National Park Service has here, just east of the intersection of the Wheatfield Road and Sykes Avenue near Little Round Top. So if you park in this parking area, then you can walk a trail through the back side of Little Round Top that leads up to the top of the hill. And then from there, you could walk over to Big Round Top or walk down the Devil's Den. You could also walk down the Wheatfield Road and walk into the Valley of Death, which is a very beautiful place this time of year. Of course, has a beautiful sounding name, doesn't it? The Valley of Death. And then you can walk down the Devil's Den. A lot of people walk through Devil's Den and around what we call Sickles Avenue to the wheat field and around the Stony Hill and back out to the Wheatfield Road and down. So there are many different paths you could take to walk and see some of these areas that have a lot of monumentation. So, another place you might want to drive to and park is Devil's Den. And, you can park at Devil's Den, and not only can you walk on the roads around the Devil's Den area, but there are also several paths that you can use to walk and learn more about areas of the battle. You probably know that there's a big round top parking lot along South Confederate Avenue, but of course, that parking lot technically is some distance up the side of Big Round Top. And I suggest if you're going to walk to the summit of Big Round Top, that you start at Plum Run at the beginning of Big Round Top and walk the entire slopes of the hill. And of course, you can pass by the Devil's Kitchen and you can see some of the nature in the area. You could probably find a snake at the Devil's Kitchen. You could probably find a snake. You could probably find a snake. Find a snake. But, in the Historical Society's collection, we have a book called The Ecology of Big Round Top. And it was written by William C. Dora, who was a huge supporter of the Adams County Historical Society. And we're going to put a link to this booklet in our description so you can learn more about the natural history of Big Round Top. And of course, on your way, you can see some monuments. And here on the other side of Plum Run, on the slopes of Big Round Top, you can see the vestiges of the Devil's Den photographic gallery and the Troth Rock. Also, you can't help but notice all the redbud trees and some of the flowering dogwood trees. In the 1980s, the park cut down a lot of these trees because it's an invasive species and they were trying to eliminate them. And I'll show a few pictures of Devil's Den and Little Round Top from the 60s when you can really see all the redbuds that were around here. But, the redbuds are making a comeback and there's a lot more of them on the battlefield again. Also, as a walking tour to learn about the nature, the natural history of the site, there's a walking tour of the Gettysburg National Cemetery and the trees that are in the cemetery. And I think you can find this online, probably at the National Park Service site. And of course, one of my favorite ways to interact with nature at Devil's Den is to cohabitate with the snakes. There are 8 different kinds of snakes that are listed in the National Park Service Register of reptiles on the battlefield. Of course, at Devil's Den, we also have the 5-lined skink. But this is there are 2 black rat snakes. We also have northern black racers. And these snakes get to be rather large. And I myself have seen snakes as big as 8 feet in and around the rocks of Devil's Den. And of course, you probably know that Gary and I have a famous video where we show a snake skin. It's pretty long, but nothing I like more on spring afternoon than to have a group of 8th graders and bring them to this spot and just be talking about the battle. And then, of course, all of a sudden someone will notice one of the snakes in the rock. There are always snakes in the rocks at Devil's Den, whether you want to know about it or not. And remember, if you like the content we put on our YouTube channel, please like and subscribe. And check out our website in the description here for GettysburgFilmFestival.org. And come out to the film festival and see notable historians, filmmakers, and actors such as Ken Burns.